So I don't think I've ever gone into a movie with lower expectations and left with a bigger smile on my face. Let's talk The Lost City. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass. I'm here to talk to you about The Lost City, which is coming to theaters on March 25th, 2022. It is a new Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Daniel Radcliffe film that I didn't really expect to be good, and it's really fun. It's just an enjoyable, crazy adventure. My hot take is I think you should watch it. It is just a surprisingly fun adventure that has a great cast and plenty of self-deprecating and also just ridiculous humor. It's weird that this film is kind of more of a video game movie, more of like a bad novel movie than Uncharted was. I liked Uncharted. I guess I was in the minority on that respect, but I also liked this film. I think this film has just a more fun, ridiculous adventure that I thought looked a little similar to how Uncharted was, but this one just kind of takes everything and turns it up to 11. So I'm going to tell you a little more about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in this review. I will try to kind of keep the spoilers to the ending discussion. So I'll keep it vague until then. So you don't have to worry about spoilers until the ending, but just wanted to give you a heads up when I get to the ending stuff. If you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn this off. So in The Lost City, you have a successful but reclusive author, Loretta Sage, played by Sandra Bullock, who was trying to kind of refine her mojo after her husband died. Her husband and her were kind of like archaeologists, but then she also wrote all these romance novels based on some of their studies. But after he passed away, she is kind of continuing that, but just not really finding the passion anymore. So you also have Alan, played by Channing Tatum, who is essentially just Loretta's cover model in the film. Like he is like the Fabio character in every one of her novels. He's famous for that, and his character in the books is named Dash. So he kind of goes by Dash sometimes. I'm probably going to call him Dash for the most part, but he is like known for just basically being a cover model hunk. But he has a lot more going on than I think anyone expected, and you find out more about that in the film. You also have Fairfax, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who is a billionaire that is looking for this ancient item in the Lost City. And that's how these three characters first run into each other. So Fairfax is trying to find this crown of fire, and he thinks that Loretta can help him because she does have a knowledge of these ancient civilizations. That leads to this ridiculous, fun, insane adventure that is just enjoyable. It's fun to just go to a movie and just kind of be taken aback and enjoy just the insanity of the situation and also just the characters as well. So things I liked about this film. The characters. I love this cast. This cast is definitely one. If you got Channing Tatum and Daniel Radcliffe in a film, I'm going to love it. I know I will. Throw in Sandra Bullock, throw in Oscar Nuñez, throw in Divine Joy Randolph, and you just have a really good mix of characters that are going to be fun. And these actors embody these characters and kind of ratchet it up. Like each of their characters is just so ridiculous and so over the top, but they do it perfectly. So everyone really commits and lets just the fun of these characters interact. I love Channing Tatum's character, how he kind of was seen as this, essentially meathead, but he had a lot more going on. I like Daniel Radcliffe's character because he was way out there. It was fun to see him play a bad guy and fun to see him kind of be like this ruthless character, but also, very charming at times as well. And Sandra Bullock was a lot of fun. Her character didn't allow for it. She had a lot more like biting sarcasm, but it was fun to see her interact with Dash and how their relationship evolved over this adventure. The second thing I really loved is the humor. There is a lot of very funny moments in this film. There's a lot of great laugh out loud moments. There's a lot of self-deprecating humor, and there is just a lot of fun. Like some of the lines are just insanely clever. There's a lot of fun banter between the characters, especially, sometimes they don't like each other very much. And so there's some really, really fun back and forth between them. And sometimes, the characters will really play into the stereotypes that they are portraying, and that provides a lot more humor as well. The third thing I really liked is the ridiculousness. I mean, the story is ridiculous. It's ridiculous overall, and it definitely leans into that. I mean, the premise of the film is you've got this adventure/romance writer and her cover model who are going to actually become explorers and find this lost city because of this billionaire who is, helping/forcing them to do it. And from that premise, you have a story that is just so over the top that you just can't help but smile. The last thing I really liked were the little touches that make this film kind of come alive. So, it was tough to really to put everything else into a category. So I tried to put it into there. But I really liked the opening. I liked how clever it was and how it kind of like threw you for a loop. I liked, Channing Tatum's character. He's trying to like be really nice to Loretta, even though Loretta is like not giving him any sort of help with that. And you don't really know why until a little bit later, but it is really fun to see like him try to be so charming and like understanding to her when she is like so cold to him, and like seeing that interaction was a lot of fun, especially at the start. And the film just did a lot of things right. It had a lot of care for like a story that you would think is just kind of a throwaway story, and it really kind of makes these characters and this whole situation come alive. Things I didn't like, I mean, I guess maybe the length. I mean, there's a bad decision that causes the film to kind of go a little longer than it might have needed to, but I mean, overall, I didn't really mind that. I liked the whole adventure, but it did feel a little bit long, but that's a minor complaint. Don't worry too much about that. I guess the second thing is there was this really amazing charcuterie spread at one point in the film that just gets destroyed. So I guess maybe I didn't like that. But hey, look, overall, the film was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I came away with a big smile, just blown away by how much fun this was. So now I'm going to get into the ending. As you can imagine, there will be spoilers. Spoilers, 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 massive spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn this off now. If you want to keep going, let's keep going. Essentially what happens is Loretta gets kidnapped by Fairfax, and Fairfax is going to force her to find the Crown of Fire because he thinks that she can decipher some ancient text that he has that will reveal where the Crown of Fire is located. And in doing that, he kidnaps Loretta and takes her to this island. Now, Dash is in love with Loretta. He's liked her for a very long time. So he wants to help her, but also prove that he can save her. So he enlists the help of a trainer, his like a yogi trainer that he had named Jack Trainer. So they both go, and eventually they get Loretta out in this just over the top action sequence that has so many explosions and so much insanity that you just can't help but smile. Again, this film is just a lot of fun. And so as Dash and Loretta are escaping, they find some more ancient text, and eventually they realize that the translation is King Solomon and his treasure, which is we think is the Crown of Fire, were laid to rest in the well of endless tears. And so now they have a hint of where to go, but they still just want to get out of there. They want to stay safe. Fairfax kidnapped them. He has some muscle. They're all looking for them, so they keep going. So they make it to a small village where there's a phone. They call Loretta's assistant to let her know, that they're fine. And they're going to jump on a puddle jumper, but it's late at night. So the police officer's like, you know what, just stay here. You'll get a plane in the morning. There's probably not going to be a plane that comes out anyways. So I see this village. They have this really like fun evening. They finally take a shower. They get all like dressed up and have like a nice meal and dance. It's a very fun like romantic scene. But then as they're doing this, Loretta tells Dash more about the story and how she wants to find the Crown of Fire. Like they're right there. She knows where it is. She realizes from someone in the village like what the Well of Endless Tears is, and it's actually a location. And so now she knows where this crown is, and she's so close to getting it. She wants to just kind of see this journey through. And Dash, wants to impress her. He wants to support her, so he says, "Hey, let's do it." Also, what is also happening right now is there's a volcano that's exploding. So like, this volcano is unstable. It's about to go off. So the fear is once this volcano goes off, the Crown of Fire will be destroyed. It'll be covered in lava. It'll just be decimated. So they decide, hey, let's go do this. So Dash goes to get some supplies, and Loretta starts planning their adventure. And then we see the police officer and some henchmen and Fairfax. So we find out that the police officer was passing information to Fairfax, and that he's going to take Loretta to the Crown of Fire. And again, this was like, I felt like we've been here before. This is how the movie kind of started. So this next sequence felt like an extra extended part of the overall adventure. So this is why I thought it was a little long. Again, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. It's not really that long. So during this, we also find out why Fairfax wants the Ring of Fire. He's a billionaire. He has an empire. There's really no need for it, but he wants something that no one else has. He has the ability to get everything. So he wants something that no one else has, and especially something that he can lord over his family and his brothers, to say like, look, I've got this and you don't. Channing Tatum follows, and eventually he like tries to rescue Loretta, fails, but does a really good job. He tries really hard, and he kind of is growing into this action hero. But he eventually gets captured as well. And so now you have Fairfax, Loretta, Dash, and then one of the henchmen all heading to the Well of Tears. So they are making their way through. There's this really narrow tunnel that they force Loretta through first, and she makes it through, and then they force Dash through. And I was like, at this point, I was like, okay, great, just wait there. And when Fairfax and the other henchmen come through, just knock them out and you're free. They didn't do that. Bad decisions, but hey, it makes it for a better adventure. So they finally make it through into the Well of Endless Tears. And inside, it's like a mini paradise. Like it's a lush world. There's like sunlight streaming in this cave. And again, I was like, hey, look, it's open up there. Fairfax is rich. Just get a helicopter to fly there. Why do they have to go through this crazy adventure? But again, wouldn't have been the same story if they didn't have to go through that scary tunnel. So they finally make it into the tomb. It's not like a crazy booby trap. It's just, it's a tomb that's in this kind of hidden chamber. And they find the tomb, they open it up, and inside they see King Solomon and his bride and a headdress that's faded. It's not this bright, beautiful ruby headdress. It's a headdress that was made of shells. So Fairfax is like, what's going on? Like, there's no treasure. This is the crown of fire. It's just like some headdress with shells. He asks, where's the treasure? And Loretta says he's holding him. And you see that they're like in this coffin embracing. And then you find out throughout the tomb are stories of their courtship. So what happened is, Solomon wanted to marry this queen, but I don't know, he wasn't worthy of her. So he brought her a red seashell every day for a year. And that's how he proved his love. That's how he proved that he, was worthy of her. And so they then crafted that headdress with, 365 shells into the crown of fire. And so at the time it was bright and beautiful, these bright red seashells. But the real treasure was their relationship. Oh, right in the feels. So as you can imagine, Fairfax is not loving this story. He's not very interested. And now he's just angry. So he tells Dash and Loretta to get in the tomb, and he's going to close up the tomb and basically leave them to die. His henchman isn't really okay with this. He secretly kind of drops a crowbar in the tomb. They seal it up and then they leave. So now you have Loretta and Dash in the tomb, like kind of thinking they're going to die, and Fairfax and the henchmen heading out. So when Fairfax and the henchmen get out of this chamber and get to this boat, the henchman goes first and he just takes the boat and leaves. And he kind of leaves Fairfax. He's like, this is not what I signed up for. You're on your own. And he just leaves Fairfax to die. So back in the tomb, you've got Loretta and Dash in this sarcophagus. And Loretta is kind of reflecting on some of the stories that she's written. And she says, it's kind of funny. I used to think this kind of stuff was so romantic. And again, the writing is perfect, because Dash goes, covered in lava or cuddling with dead people. And Loretta says, laying down with a lost love. And so they kind of have this moment. It's very beautiful. And then, you find out that Loretta just kind of was so hurt when her husband died that she just didn't want to like let life happen. She like was afraid to like let life happen because she was so hurt by life. But through this experience, I think she might be ready. And then they find the crowbar. And so they use the crowbar to open up the tomb. But as they're leaving, she takes her wedding ring, which she has been wearing since her husband died, and leaves it in the tomb with, King Solomon and his love and the crown of fire. And so they're about to escape. They're trying to figure out what to do. There's no ship. Fairfax has abandoned them. And then they find that there's a current flowing out of this cave. And so they're like, hey, you know what? Let's see where this goes. Probably not a good idea. But hey, again, it makes for a very interesting movie and an exciting story. So they jump in, shoot out through the current, and you're now taken to the ocean far away from an island. I didn't see any volcano during this scene, which again, I was a little like, where's the volcano? But it's fine. It makes for a beautiful scene. Loretta pops up first, and she kind of looks around for Dash, like, well, Dash, what's going on? Maybe he got stuck, right? He's much bigger than her. Maybe he got stuck. Nope, he pops up right after. So they're in the ocean, and wouldn't you know it, Beth, Loretta's assistant, is there with a boat. She had been tracking them. She had been kind of making her own crazy journey to get to them. And so she finally showed up with a boat right when they needed it. And wouldn't you know it, she also has Fairfax, this little person that she found earlier, who, she's like, he looks like a boy, but he's got a full beard, which again, I thought that was really funny self-deprecating humor. Good on Daniel Radcliffe for like allowing that, because I laughed out loud when that happened. But they find out that Fairfax is actually the bad guy, so they stop him, they tackle him, and they're going to go pick up Loretta and Dash, but Loretta and Dash see a rock nearby. So like Dash climbs up to the rock, grabs Loretta's hand, pulls her up, and then the scene like freezes, and it's like the perfect cover for a book. And then it moves to a book with that cover. You've got Dash and holding Loretta with a volcano blowing up in the background. And you find out her next book was about their adventure and the Crown of Fire. Everyone's at a resort. They're kind of celebrating this new book. They're relaxing, and Dash and Loretta go to the coast. They're talking about this new adventure, and then they finally kiss. And so then it's a happy ending. Everyone's happy. She found Dash found his courage. Dash found a way to impress her. Loretta found her thirst for life, and together they are going to make some beautiful stories. And that's the end. That's the movie. Again, it's just a lot of fun. And there is a stinger. During the stinger, there's a meditation camp, and you have Dash and Loretta meditating. And behind them, Jack Trainer, who was the person that was called in to help rescue Loretta, and he was killed during the rescue. He's there too. And so Dash kind of looks back and is confused. He's like what happened? You were dead. Like your brain was on my face. And Jack Trainer, who's played by Brad Pitt, it was a very funny Brad Pitt cameo. Jack Trainer then says, "We only use 10% of our brain, so I just switched." And then that was it, like that. And then they're both kind of like nodded and then turned around. So it was funny. It was kind of an unnecessary stinger. I was hoping for something a little different. It just felt like maybe they wanted to throw another Brad Pitt scene in, or maybe it was a scene that they'd filmed that they just wanted to include. It was clever, but it didn't seem necessary. But hey, you know what? If you're there for the film, save for the stinger because you'll probably like it. And there you go. That is The Lost City. It comes at theaters on March 25th, 2022. It's a ridiculous, fun adventure that, I really enjoyed, and I think you'll probably enjoy it too. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.